Okay, Fire Dude here. Just going to go over a couple quick, few tech tips on the Big Lama. I've got a couple of them here. First off, we have the Big Lama with the canopy off. And one of the first things we did was put in the extended inner shaft by Extreme. This helps prevent blade strikes, but to be honest with you, you can fly with a stock shaft. This does help, but you got to remember the Big Lama is not to be flown aggressively like a regular fixed pitched or collective pitched helicopter. If you jam the sticks and make aggressive maneuvers, even with the extended shaft, you're going to get blade strikes. So just keep that in mind. So we put in the extended shaft, and what we've also done is done the battery mod, and it's done with a piece of Tupperware, and then I put a little backing on the back here with the Velcro tab that holds the battery. And you can see the battery's been maybe 50 or a little over % forward, and this will help you with your forward flight. That really helps with the forward flight. So you want to do the battery mod. That's a real biggie. So again, you just take your piece of Tupperware, cut it out. You can put the Velcro here if you want. I beefed it up a little bit with a little piece of plastic. So you see, and then you drill your holes, and the skids go right through it, and it rests in place. So, and then the battery just comes out, and it comes out the bottom of the deal. So you can see right there's the Tupperware thing, and there's the notch in the back for the battery. Another thing we've done with this particular Big Lama, as you can see, is we've got the long servo arms here with 5 holes. We've drilled out the last hole, the 5th hole, so we can use it. And what this does is it gives you more throw and more controllability. If you have the stock horns, these come with the servos, but if you have the stock horns, you want to use the furthest most out hole, and it gives you a lot better, more controllability. And make sure your servo arms are set at 90 degrees with the shaft. Okay, and then what we do is when we set it up, if you can see it there, with it plugged in and powered up, we adjust the servo where it's level, or I'm sorry, the swash plate where it's level, and just a slight bit of forward tilt. And this is done with the trim on our, you'll have to play with your transmitter because this is set up for a DX6i and a compatible receiver. But you want a little forward tilt in there. And usually aft trim. What we do is about 4 or 5 clicks back aft trim on the transmitter, and then put in your slight tilt in the swash. And you can adjust that once you get it in there. When you start flying it, you can play with the trim a little bit if you need to. As you can see, this one's been set up with an AR 6100E Spectrum receiver. The other ships I have the orange RC, and you can see it has the stock motors. And the lube points that you want to hit on the Big Lama is you want to lube this bearing up here. You want to get the purple bearing here with the metal bearing because it reduces vibration big time. Okay, and you want to put a small drop of oil on the swash plate right here. There's no bearing, it's just a bushing. And then what you want to do is take a small drop of oil and put it right in here just below the collar, and that'll work its way into the top main bearing and then work its way down to the bottom main bearing. You can also lube the bottom main bearing once you pull everything off and take your gears off. This is running both stock gears. The other ship back here has extreme gears on it. Okay, so, and this has got the stock skids on it. Now the other ships have the super skids. This particular ship I left the stock skids on. And you can see what we've done here with the camera mount. And this is an 8011, I'm sorry, 808 number 11 high definition camera. And you got to be careful because there's copycats out there. But this puts out great video. And I'll go over that next on the camera mount in the next video. Now, we run two types of blades with a Big Lama. We have the stock blades that come with the Big Lama. Okay, and they're fairly rigid and strong, but they will break like any blade. Okay, but what we also run, we call them Walkera blades, but they're not really made by Walkera. We're not really sure who they're made by. But what these are a much flimsier blade, and we recommend until you get used to flying a helicopter and getting used to it to hold up on these. But these do take a lot of vibration out of the helicopter. It handles better, it's smoother, much smoother. And what you have to do with these, because they're thinner than the stock blades, is we take a little nylon washer that costs 9 cents a piece, and just a tad bit of CA on the back, and we glue it on, make sure the hole's clear, and let it set up, and then it'll slide right into blade grips just fine. But these are very inexpensive compared to the stock blades. You can probably, get, I'd say, you can get these. You'll see the link in the description in the video here to these, to the eBay seller. It takes about a week to 10 days to get here from China. But so if you order some, order a lot. But these are really great. But if you're just learning, tipping over and crashing, stick with your stock blades until then, because these will take a beating. These won't take a beating like the stock blades will. Now, one thing about the blades, no matter which set of blades you use, you want to remember that you tip over, the blades hit the ground a few times, this and that, those things are going to happen. But if all of a sudden you get vibrations that you can't figure out what they are, and it just boggles your mind, change your blades, because once the blades get fatigued, not visibly fatigued, but physically fatigued, they will induce vibrations on the helicopter, and you will have significant vibrations. So, every now and then, if you've tipped over or had a minor accident or whatever, change out to a fresh set of blades. Once they get fatigued, you're going to get vibrations. And again, that's not visible fatigue. It's just the blades themselves get fatigued. Obviously, if it's visible, you need to change it out. You should, when you change blades, you should always don't mix them up. Take a new set of A blades or a new set of B blades, whichever it is you need, or both, and replace them with those. So again, we've got the extended inner shaft, and there's plenty of videos out there online how to change this. It's really not that hard. I can tear this helicopter down and completely rebuild it in a couple of hours in an afternoon. Okay, you do your battery modification. Again, you have the battery that goes in, and let's see if we can get it in there, and it goes in, hooks up, and there it is. And that really shifts the weight of the helicopter forward, the center of gravity a little bit, and it assists you in your forward flight. This particular helicopter handles like a dream. It goes where you tell it to, when you want it to, and how fast you want it to. So, that's pretty much it, really. And, check your gear mesh. Make sure you have just a tiny bit of play in your gears. You don't want them too loose, because that'll cause vibration, and it'll also cause premature wear on the gears. So, and that's pretty much it. And I'll go over the camera mount here in just a minute. One thing I wanted to bring up on the Big Lama is blade tracking. It's very important that your blades track properly. Now, generally your bottom blades, if these links here are the same on each side, and they should be when you get the helicopter, you shouldn't have to mess with these. But what gets out of track is the top blades. And when they're out of track, you'll see the blades apart. I'm exaggerating. And as you bring them into track, then you'll just see the one plane of blades. Now what you need to do is if your blades are off track, pop the ball link off right here on the upper blade grips, and make a complete turn, not a half a turn. 1, 2, a complete turn in either direction. Bring it to a hover and see if your blades are now on track. If they're not, or they're worse, then go back a complete turn and then another complete turn in the opposite direction, and it'll bring them on track. If your blades are off track and you have a slight B in there and they're not tracking right on, you have a slight B, it's going to cause you vibration problems and cause the whole heli to vibrate. You'll notice it in the canopy and what have you. So anyway, this is kind of a long video. I apologize, but I want to try to cover everything. And things to check is always make sure your little screws up here in the upper head for the extended shaft are tight. Don't use Loctite up there, because if you do, you'll never get them out, and you'll strip the heads of the screws out, and it's a booger to get them out. So just check those screws after each flight real quick. Make sure they're tight. You want your blades fairly loose so they'll move, so when you spool up, the blades will go out straight. So again, and this one already has a cam mount on it as well. Now I'll go over the cam mount in the next video. So I'm getting ready to put this one back together, and I'll leave it with that. If you have any questions, please just jump on our Facebook site. The link is down in the description on the video, and we'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have. And that's pretty much it for now. Next video will be on the camera mount, and we'll do some more tech tip videos as we go along. Thanks for watching.